Hello, everybody, and welcome to my presentation. The title of this Mixed Methods Exploratory Sequential Research Study is How Do I Fit In? This is a study of English language learners and their relationship with faculty in community college English courses. Here's a brief agenda of what we will be going over during this presentation. So, introduction to this study. It's obviously about English language learners in higher education, but specifically English language learners in community colleges in English composition courses. The English language learner population has been growing rapidly over the past 3 decades. It's currently estimated that there is over 1.1 million enrolled, a number which keeps growing. For instance, in states like California, 24% of the community college population is estimated to be English language learners. And in New York, according to the City University of New York, CUNY, it's estimated that 50% of students in the community college, the public community college system there, are English language learners due to high immigrant populations. English language learners have been shown to have low achievement rates, only higher than one other group in higher education, and that group is students with learning disabilities. There is some research out there that suggests, though these low achievement rates can be partially attributed to lack of sense of belongingness within college level courses or colleges in general. The reasons for this lack of belonging are many, but some of them are lack of English proficiency, which makes for difficulty in communicating with other students or faculty members. Citizenship status, which many English language learners are immigrants. So there are states which are not very immigrant friendly when it comes to higher education. No undocumented student can receive federal financial aid, but some states allow state financial aid for undocumented students, but other states prohibit financial aid or even enrollment, which can, cause lack of belongingness on college campuses. And one thing to consider too is that many two-year institutions are predominantly white institutions. Just because an institution qualifies for Hispanic serving institution status, that only means that 25% of the population identifies as Hispanic. So the other feasibly 75% could identify as white. So a lot of English language learners are of different ethnicities and may not see themselves on campus as often, or they may not see people that look like them teaching their courses. So that can dissuade them from feeling as if they belong within that campus or that course. One thing that has been shown to be helpful in assisting belongingness, specifically in English language learners, are socioacademic integrative moments, a concept developed by Dell Amen back in 2011. These moments are generated mostly by faculty and staff and can occur in and outside of the classroom. And this is where faculty members or staff members can show social or academic support to English language learners, all students really, but English language learners in particular. This shows to have very positive results. Just things like praising a student in front of the whole class, or letting the student know they did a good job, whether by writing or in person, or inviting the student to clubs or other meetings on campus can really go a long way for these students. So phase 1 of this exploratory sequential mixed methods research study was done at a rural community college. This phase was qualitative in nature. And this rural community college was located on the west coast of the United States, which served as the bounded system for this within site case study. There were 4 English language learner students enrolled in college level English course, a college level English course at said college. And phase 1 focused on a single issue: ELL students' sense of belonging within college level English courses, and utilize an interview protocol developed for this study. The data was then organized with Excel and color-coded by participant and distilled for emergent themes based on Saldana's coding methods. The methods used were descriptive coding. The emergent themes from the qualitative phase were faculty support, and a classroom community had a big impact on English language learners' performance within courses and the way that they perceived as themselves within said space. This generated pride in their coursework, in the sense that these students were proud to get good grades or pass the classes, and wanted to continuously feel that sense of pride as they went throughout the course, due to the reaffirming that occurred by the faculty members and the other students within their courses. So the purpose of this study was to explore English language learner student perceptions of belongingness in English composition courses at a community college. And the research questions are as follows. Research questions 1, what is the relationship between faculty support and the perceptions of community college English language learners in college level English of their sense of belonging in their course? Research question 2, what relationship exists between community college English language learners' self-reported course grade in college level English and their perceptions of faculty support? And the final question, the first two were quantitative in nature. This one is a mixed methods research question. How do the perceptions of community college English language learners' sense of belonging in college level English courses support the qualitative results that faculty who provide academic and social support influence their course grades? So the conceptual framework for this study is sense of belonging. Now, this is something that has been around for a very long time. Maslow kind of postulated it first in 1954 when he developed his hierarchy of needs, which there are 5. And the first most basic human needs are physiological needs such as food, water, and warmth, and rest. The second human need is safety or security. Belongingness or sense of belonging can only occur after the first 2 basic human needs are met and can take the form of intimate or group relationships. Once belongingness is reached, Maslow posits human positive self-esteem can occur. Only after these 4 basic human needs have been met can humans reach their full self-actualization or potential as a person. So sense of belonging is pretty prevalent in all different fields, particularly psychology, sociology, and education. For example, in 1992, Haggerty and others defined sense of belonging in the field of psychology as the experience of personal involvement in a system or environment so that persons feel themselves to be an integral part of that system or environment. Now, for this specific study, we are looking at sense of belonging in college students, a conceptual model developed by Strayhorn in 2012 and refined in 2019. His model is based on many different research studies conducted by him, looking at students at 4-year and 2-year public-private universities. These students belong to HBCUs, HSIs, PWIs, all kinds of different colleges and institutions of higher education. These students ranged in background from different ethnicities, such as African American or Latinx, LGBTQ plus students. And yeah, there was a lot of different studies that this gentleman did. So his definition of belonging is students' perceived social support, his definition of sense of belonging is students' perceived social support on campus, a feeling or sensation of connectedness, and the experience of mattering or feeling cared about, accepted, respected, valued by, and important to the campus community or others on campus, such as faculty, staff, and peers. One thing that Strayhorn really emphasizes, as you can see within this diagram, is that sense of belonging must be satisfied constantly. Students must feel as though they belong. That doesn't have to be just from one person. It can be from just looking at a building for that matter, but they must feel a sense of belonging within the college space continuously in order to continue to achieve and self-actualize. So some assumptions and limitations of this study. The first assumption is that everybody could read the study. So the survey instrument, which was created for this study, the CBI, which we'll go into here in a bit, was only offered in English. This assumption was because these students are taking college level English courses. And so I assumed they could read in English. One of the limitations was that this was only done in California community college students. So students in some of the states, as I mentioned earlier, which may not be as friendly toward immigrant populations, might not express the same levels that I received here. And the other limitation is that all the students, spoiler alert, passed the college level English course. it would have been healthy to get some students that perhaps didn't pass, so their perceptions could be included within the study. But unfortunately, all the students who took the survey didn't indicate they passed. A delimitation of this study was the ability to track English language learners. Currently, community colleges do not track if students took ESL, or English as a Second Language course, in high school. That has to be something that the student tells the college themselves, whether through an admissions application or self-identifies. So as you'll see later, the way the recruitment was done, but that wasn't really possible here, but it would have been nice to have students that, or a wider pool of students based on students that took high school English language learner classes and perhaps didn't take them at the community college level. So the research design for this study was exploratory sequential, which is a 3-phase model. Phase 1 was described before as the qualitative inquiry. Phase 2 was a re-examination of the qualitative data for themes, the creation of the course belongingness inventory, which was the survey used for this MMR study, and then to pilot the CBI. Phase 3 was administration, and then data analysis and checking for corroboration from the quantitative data within the qualitative themes. So a request to the institution's Office of Institutional Effectiveness was accompanied the IRB request, which was approved. The request requested student email, phone number, and college email, personal email, and phone number for any student that had attempted English 101, 110, or 112, which are college level English composition courses, in the last 2 years, or was currently enrolled and had taken an English as a Second Language course at the community college. So this is a timeline of the distribution of the CBI to the actually 64 participants, because 4 of the students that were identified actually participated in the qualitative study, qualitative phase of this study, excuse me, and they were the ones who piloted the actual CBI, so they were not given the CBI a second time. The CBI contained 10 Likert type scale items, ranging in from 1 strongly agree to 5 strongly disagree. So the lower the score, the more an agreement the participant was. 1 open response item, which is a self-reported grade. And then these 10 Likert type scale items were separated into 2 Likert scales, 5 items each, 1 for faculty support and 1 for sense of belonging. The Chromebox Alpha, as you can see there, is above 0.70, which deems this a reliable instrument for the purposes of this study. As you can see from the data analysis, there were 24 total individuals which responded to the CBI. 4 of them actually just answered the informed consent form. There was a pretty hefty informed consent form in the CBI, and then nothing else. So they were omitted from the data analysis. The response rate was 31.25%. The descriptive statistics, as you can see in table 1, skewed pretty much toward the positive in the strongly agree, very low scores. Only question 3 had a large range of 3, which means there was a 1 and a 4. The 4 was closer to strongly disagree, but everything else pretty much skewed towards strongly agree. As you can see in table 2, everyone passed. We had 11 A's, 5 B's, 3 C's, not a very high standard deviation there. One thing to note there is the N is only 19. 1 individual responded to all 10 Likert type scale items and not the grade. So something that's a little controversial based on some of the other presentations I've seen is I chose to go with Pearson's correlational statistic. The reason why, and this is hotly debated within the social sciences research community, is that when Likert type scale responses are typically considered ordinal, but when they're combined into a Likert scale, they can be considered interval, because I chose to use mean over median. And yes, there is research to support that this is one way to go. So rather than Spearman's rho, I chose to use a Pearson correlational statistic for this study. And yes, it is very hotly debated and I know some people went Spearman. I went Pearson. So the data analysis, research question 1. So the relationship between faculty support and the perceptions of a sense of belonging in their course. So the independent variable is independent variable is faculty support, and dependent variable is sense of belonging. So there was a positive correlation between these two variables. As you can see here, this was significant at the 0.05 level. And then here, the relationship between self-reported course grade and perceptions of faculty support. So faculty support, again, was the independent variable, technically a quasi-independent variable because this was not an experimental study. And self-reported course grade was the dependent variable. Again, positive correlation, which again was significant at the 0.05 level. And then for our mixed methods research question, how do the perceptions of community college English language learners' sense of belonging in college level English courses support the qualitative results that faculty who provide academic and social support influence their course grades? As you can see here, the sample means for the Likert scales, which were created, we have first sense of belonging. The mean was 1.41, and faculty support, the mean was 1.40. So again, 1 is strongly agree, and then 5 is strongly disagree. So both of these skewed very much towards strongly agree. And we had the 19 participants who passed the course with a C or better because the 1 didn't respond. So because we have high levels, high perceptions of faculty support and high perceptions of sense of belonging within said courses, and all students passed, we can ascertain that the quantitative data corroborates the qualitative themes. Higher levels of faculty support led to increased sense of belonging and higher course grades. So in conclusion, sense of belonging plays a large role for all students, but particularly our English language learner population. And that faculty support does seem to have an effect on ELL student grades, and that students felt pride in their work, which manifested within said higher grades. That's mostly from the qualitative portion of the MMR study, or phase 1, but the grades do support that, or corroborate, excuse me, that information. Recommendations are that faculty can make an effort to get to know their students, and this is not just for college level composition or college level English courses. A lot of other courses on campus are all taught in, well, all courses are taught in English, but you know, the college level English courses are kind of the first stop for students after ESL, but students also take, you know, history classes, speech classes, psychology classes on campus, and the assumption is that these students all are proficient in English. That might not always be the case. So making an extra effort to get to know these students and support them as much as possible, regardless of the subject matter one teaches, particularly biology, would be very helpful for these students. And as far as higher education administrators, how they can assist faculty through this, I know professional development, but English language learner specific professional development may be in disciplines outside of English, because a lot of faculty in those areas often take for granted where their students are coming from. I know English works closely typically with ESL departments or English as second language departments, but you know, faculty in math or science or the behavioral studies could benefit from this type of professional development. And also administration and higher educational institutions can make an effort to make it easier for faculty and staff to develop have socioacademic integrative moments with their student populations. And what I mean by that is being an advisor to a club takes personal time. Having meetings with students outside of office hours or class takes personal time. So maybe developing opportunities for these socioacademic integrative moments to occur, not necessarily organically, but within spaces on campus through campus events, or offering time for faculty and staff to support club and student clubs and support students in extracurricular activities may have a great benefit for the English language learner population. Here are the references for this particular PowerPoint. If you have any questions or want to see more, let me know and I'll happily send you the study. Thank you very much. Everybody have a good one.